You're
I
welcome.
welcome. I will
Wow.
not be reading a bio. I will be telling you how wonderful this young lady is. She's super, super helpful and she's awesome. And she's on her way to really some big, awesome, amazing places. And I'm going to let you tell us about yourself, Ivy. And thank you so much. I present to you Ivy Perez.
Well, thank you, my dear. And thank you. You know what? I say thank you for the individual that was unable to attend, and I'm here. And there's a reason for that. So, hello, everyone, whether you are live or on replay. My name is Ivy Perez. I live in Central Jersey. There's so much to say. The theme, The Rocky Road to Success, when I heard it, I'm like, ooh, this is good. They're all good, because we all have stories, we all have experiences that can touch upon the theme. And this one, I think everybody and anyone can talk to. Um, I just happen to be here today and I could tell you about me. So there's lots to say in the short amount of time that I have with you. So I'm going to set my timer so that I stay on track relatively.
You don't need a timer. You're the last one. It's 3 minutes to two if you go over two or you finish earlier. It's all good, honey. Don't stress.
Okay,
Go
no
for
stress. No stress, no stress. So, all right. So with me, so the rocky road to success, and I'll start here. When I was younger, I thought that when you grow older, you get older, you just automatically become successful. You just go to school and you get the degree, you get a job, and things just fall into place. And I learned, well, see, I learned much, much later in life. Actually, probably within the last 10 years is when my personal growth has really started to take hold of me. But along the ways, I think with most of us is that we don't understand why things are happening. If you grew up and you weren't taught, because we're conditioned to look outside of ourselves, when you're not mentored or supported or given the opportunity to ask questions, given the opportunity to be yourself, given the opportunity to just be a child. And for whatever reason, it happens. For me, my mom and dad were always working. Then my parents got divorced. So I was mom to my two sisters and I was the latchkey kid. So that has a lot of factors, and not having mentorship or an adult, to guide me. So I was pretty much for the most part on my own, figuring things out on my own. And that's fine. I think one of the things about that is you gain a sense of, I don't want to say thick skin. It depends on where you are and who you are. I don't think that I have particularly a thick skin, even though I kind of had uh, a large portion of my life living in New York. But I think who I am in my heart, I'm just a softie, and I have a lot of trust and belief in people. And even though I, as a child, trust was betrayed. As a child, I think, my childhood innocence was manipulated. Even all these things, I truly believe in people and I love on people. I try to understand people. So that even as a child, there was a rocky road in my childhood. So having a rocky road to success, success is relative, as we all know. Um, you know, you can be very successful in school. You can be very successful in a business. You can have great successes with friendships and relationships or in sport. In the book, Michael Hyatt's Your Best Year Ever, he talks about the 10 life domains. And I've learned about, 4 pillars and 5 pillars and this and that. But I really like this one, the 10 life domains. And I don't think I can remember all of them, but like relational and personal and spiritual, financial, relational, social, I'm not going to remember all of them, but think of a wheel. And you want to kind of visualize, and I do this with people that I talk to, and we have the visual of the wheel, and you just kind of mark where you are today, wherever you are. And there's no judgment. It's just looking at the landscape of your life and just seeing where you are today in all the areas, all the domains of your life. And it's such a powerful visual because it's like, okay, I thought my relationships were an 8, but when I really think about it, they're really a 4. So how do I get from 4 to 8? And so what it does is it just kind of shifts your thinking and you start taking steps moving forward. All the thing is awareness. And but we you don't know what you don't know. And but once you understand that there is a language to your success, you can apply that language in any area. And it really starts with our thinking. But again, going back to childhood, if you were blessed to have family, friends, teachers that guided you, supported you, mentored you, really taught you, shared with you, planted seeds um, for you, what a gift. And I hope that if you did receive that, that you honor that. For the most part, I did not until I was in my 30s when I started to receive those gifts of seeds in my life. And I didn't know how to accept it. And it took a long time. It's still, I mean, I've had 40 plus years of doing things my way, like the Lone Ranger. And it wasn't until roughly the last 5 to 10 years where it's more about realizing, leaning on people, asking for help, uh, just being vulnerable, sharing who you are, and all these things help to mold you. And as I was thinking about this today, I came up with an acronym. I think of Nikki Cuesta because she's like acronym queen, PACER. And, you know, I mentioned success is relative. So experiences, shape you. Okay, let me start with the PACER because that's not the P. So P, personal development. It builds you. Jim Rohn says it. And the first time I heard this, when he says, work on your job and you'll make a living. Work on yourself and you'll make a fortune, or as he would say, a fortune. Personal development builds you. Experiences shape you. Action develops you. Community, the right community, embraces you. And reflection grounds you. Isn't that good? I just came up with that. So in this rocky road to success, uh, we're all figuring it out. And like I mentioned, it's all relative wherever you are. We're figuring it out. There's levels of success. And once we hit a level, like Daniel just mentioned, you know, you climb a mountain and what's there? Another mountain to climb. There's always something. If you can realize that and have the awareness and the wherewithal that it's not just a one-shot deal, there's not just one road that leads you to success. There's, I mean, think of a road. Just picture a road. There's winding roads, flat roads, um, rocky roads. There's uh, dusty roads. There's steep roads and the inclines and all these things. And that's life. You know, we all have challenges in our life, and we can be going down a road and it's good and we feel good. And we're kind of like sometimes coasting, and then something happens. There's an accident, there's a roadblock, there's, you know, the weather change. Those are all circumstances. Those are all people that come into our lives. They hurt us, sometimes on purpose, sometimes unknowing, because hurt people hurt people. There are situations and circumstances that happen at the time when you don't have the awareness to us, because we're thinking, why did this happen to me? And then once you get into personal development and you start growing and learning, you realize it's for you. At the time, you don't realize that. In retrospect, as Steve Jobs would say, you know, it's, I don't remember the exact quote, and I've mentioned it before. It's like you could connect the dots looking backwards, not when you're in it, when you can realize, that person came into my life to teach me this. There's a poem that I always tell people about, no matter where they are in their lives, if they're struggling with something, especially someone. There's a poem called Reasons, Seasons, Lifetime. I absolutely love that poem because the first time I read it might have been like 20 plus years ago. It just made so much sense. Sometimes a situation, a circumstance, a person will come into your life for a reason. It could be a short time, it could be a day, a week, a month, and they will do something that will just like jar you, like, whoa, why did that happen? And then they're gone. Poof, they're gone. They were there to teach you. There was a reason why that person showed up in your life. And sometimes, and I'm sure some of you can relate, when there's a person that showed up in your life and you don't know their name, where they came from, how they got there, you never heard of them, no one knows of them, and poof, they're gone. Sometimes it's an angel, and sometimes not. Then there's seasons. We have people in our lives, situations, circumstances that last a season. Season can be 6 months. It can be a year. It can be 10 years. It can be 20 years. It's a season to teach us something. And you know, Oprah Winfrey once said this, that you'll hear the whisper. And this is when you need to change, when you need to grow. And you'll hear that whisper, and you know it. You know exactly what that is, and we ignore it. It's like the red flag. And I believe it was, if I'm not mistaken, Jose talked about that. It's the red flag, and we know it. We know it when we get involved in a relationship, whether it's a friendship or an intimate relationship, a work a relationship, or like, ooh, I don't like that. That didn't make me feel good. But it's like, but it's the but. And women tend to do this more so than men. But they're really nice and they do have a good heart and they're well intentioned. They mean well. And I tell my daughter this, and she's 11 years old, because I want to help her because she will have a rocky road. I want her to have a rocky road, but her rocky road, I want her to have more awareness. Her rocky road, I want her to be more prepared. I talk about the 6 P's with her all the time. I talk about teaching moments with her all the time, to a point where she's like, okay, Ma, here we go again. You and your teaching moments. I'm like, it's my job. It's what I didn't receive. And I've been gifted her in my life so that, one, I could be an example of possibility, not just for her, for myself and others, but to teach her so that she has a better road ahead in her life. And to think I could teach her all these things, like Daniel was having these conversations with his son. They're not easy conversations. And our kids, they'll call us out on our stuff. And it's not fun. It's like, okay, this is good. Now, if you have a growth mindset and you've worked on yourself and you understand and you have awareness and you're like, okay, this is good. Let's have a conversation. Let's talk about this. And you ask questions and you pull from them what they're thinking, because they're going to reveal to you things about you that probably are your blind spots, and they say it in a way that sometimes hurts, but it's so innocently said. You know, it's just what they see because they see you all the time. So, gosh, there's so much to cover. So again, we're not taught to think about what we want, what we would love, what what our life would be like in the future, what that could be. Um, and when you do learn, when you do become aware, it is your responsibility, as it is mine, it is your responsibility to move to the next level. Because if you don't, it's going to be that whisper that is not going to leave you, and it's going to haunt you. And you're going to move about your life and in your days. And that whisper is always going to be there telling you, okay, well, are you going to do it now? Are you going to speak to that person now? Are you going to take the leap now? And sometimes opportunities are not always there. And they don't always show up when things are convenient. And opportunities don't always show up when, everything is comfortable. Sometimes they show up when you're not ready. So are you going to say the yes? That's part of the rocky road. Saying yes when you're not ready. It's saying yes when, you're yes. It's the the proverbial or the cliche, uh, you know, step into fear or say yes when you're not ready, or, you know, false evidence appearing real, all these things. I mean, we know that to be, but it's true. It's like the apple a day. What if, what if you eat an apple a day? You know, does that help your health? That keep you from going to the dentist all the time, kind of thing? But some people it's like, no, that's too simple. That's so simple. Like, really, an apple a day? Really, reading 10 pages a day is really going to change my life? Really, doing 2 minutes of exercise every morning or stretching is really going to change my life? Not initially, but you keep at it. Consistency is key. It'll change your life. Reading will change your life. Community will change your life. Surrounding yourself with people who are rungs up the ladder from you will change your life. But it's a choice and it's a decision. And again, you don't know what you don't know. But when you surround yourself with people who are better than you want to be around people who are better than you. Sure, it's uncomfortable. You know, that's part of the rocky road. It's uncomfortable, you know, to be around people who are doing better, who are up leveling, who seemingly do things so easily, and they seem to have everything figured out. And when you realize we're all just people, just trying to like make it make it happen, make it work. So, you know, three things that I like to talk about, and it's kind of like three tools that I've taught. It's three things that have really truly changed my life, and that is, and it's the power of running your own race. And for some people who know me, I've run marathons in the past, and you know, I enjoy, I value exercise, and I'm always challenging myself. There was I forget his name, Tom. I think it's Tom O'Brady. No, that's the football player. Oh,
Tom
Colin.
Brady.
No,
Tom.
yeah, no, it's not Tom Brady. Collins, Tom Collins. Darn it. Anyway,
No,
he
that's
wrote
a
the book.
drink.
Yeah, yes. He wrote the book, 12-Hour Walk. And I remember listening to him. He was being interviewed by Ed Milet. And I thought, man, that sounds so cool because he was in Antarctica doing a race. And that whole 12-hour thing came from a point where he allotted his food for, I don't remember how many hours a day. So there's, you know, so much sunlight, it's cold, you can't see anything in front of you.
Colin O'Brady.
Colin O'Brady, thank you. So I remember thinking that, and he said he just had like it was, he didn't think he could push through. He thought he was done because he hadn't done 12 hours in a day. And his food supply, his fuel supply was very low, and he did it. And it was almost like an epiphany that he had. And you know, when you're out there and there's no one around, he did have one other person that was doing the race with him, but they didn't see each other for a long while. And I thought I want to do that. And so I did. And but I did it because I thought, maybe I'll have an epiphany. Let's see what's going to happen on this 12-hour walk and what am I going to feel or anything. And nothing really happened except for sore feet. Nothing really happened. So I was kind of bummed about that, but I did it. But I did it. And I'm always challenging myself. And I
Yes.
had a friend of mine, yeah, I had a friend of mine say to me, because, okay, so let me get back to the three things that changed my life. So one of the things in the power of running your own race is letting go what doesn't serve you. A lot of people have talked about it. Daniel just talked about it. It's you know you know exactly what that thing is that you are doing, ingesting, involving yourself in that is not serving you. You know, you don't have to tell anyone. And, you know, when you put your head down at night or when you're by yourself in your own home, in your own mind, you know exactly what that is that you're doing that's not serving you. It could be emotional eating, unhealthy eating, alcohol, drugs, any kind of substance abuse. It could be anger, shame, guilt. It could be a toxic relationship, toxic work environment. You know what that is for you. For me, it was alcohol. And for many, many years, for decades, actually, close to 3 decades, it was my struggle. I don't like labels. I don't like labels, so it was very difficult for me to think that, you know, I had a problem or I was an alcoholic. But I abused it because to me, there's different levels of, you know, alcoholism. I abused it, you know, and just like anyone who does anything like drugs or alcohol, anything like that, if you can go a month or 2 or 3 or 4 months, you think I don't have a problem. If you can wait till like 12 o'clock in the afternoon, 1 o'clock, or even early evening, I don't have a problem. I could go all day without it, kind of thing. But so it's one of those things, and letting go, it doesn't serve you, that really changes the game for you. And when I let go of it, which was June 1st, 2018, finally, because I've said I'm done a gajillion times, I knew I was done. It was like every fiber in my being was like, yes, yes, we've been waiting for you. I felt it. I truly, truly felt it. But at the same time, I knew that that was level one, phase one for me. Now, who was I? Now, what was I going to do? Who was I going to be? Who am I without it? What am I going to do on my spare time? Because, happy hour was the thing to do. You network, happy hour. You meet friends, happy hour. At least I did. So I'm like, what do I do with my time? And I remember listening to James Clear, and he was talking about his book, Atomic Habits, and he talked about the 2-minute rule. And I thought, 2 minutes, could that really be a game changer? Like, really? And then I thought, well, I value exercise. So I don't know. I'll do 2 minutes every day. Mind you, I've run marathons, I've done all these things in the past, but I wasn't consistent, you know? I wasn't consistent. I would train for a race, do the race, I'm done. Then every, 18 months or so, I get the bug and then I train again. That's it. But I wanted something that was to keep me going, whether I wanted to or not. So 2 minutes. So I thought, you know what? I'm going to wake up every morning and I'm going to stretch for 2 minutes. That's it. Now, some days I did more, some days I didn't want to. But the days that didn't want to, I did 2 minutes. And interestingly, and I would stretch, I would do yoga, and it was kind of like two led to five. And it was every day for weeks, where then I wanted to get up and get on the floor. And then it was this sense of, I started building this sense of trust and belief in myself just by the consistency of that action, which is the second thing. That's the second thing. So the first thing is the letting go, it doesn't serve you. The second thing is the consistency, like building a habit, doing something that, yes, maybe it replaces the thing, but I really thought about that and I thought, what do you value that's important to you? And I value exercise. I value a lot of things, but at the time, I'm like, what is it that I value? Because I let go of something that was a stronghold in my life. So, what is it? So, I'm like, okay. And then I got back into doing the thing that I really love on a consistent basis. And so, there's a Jewish book. It's a collection of stories, laws. It's called the Talmud. And in the Talmud, there's a story of every blade of grass. And some of you may have heard this. Every blade of grass, or I should say, it's as if every blade of grass has its angel whispering over it. Grow. The first time I heard that, I got chills because we all have a purpose. Sometimes we don't know what that is, but everyone and everything in this earth, in this time and space, in our reality, we have a purpose. And a blade of grass will press through cement seeking the light. And that same life force energy is within every single one of us. Now, our job and our responsibility is to figure out what it is that lights us up. What is it that is our thing? What is it that makes us feel good? And believe me when I tell you, I'm guilty of having something that lights me up and fuels me, and I'm still looking here like I should do this, but this makes me feel good. But I I just feel like I should do this. So I'm guilty of that. We all are. It's human nature to do that. But we all have a purpose and we're guided by a higher power. Whatever that is for you, for me, it's God, you know? And so June 1st, 2018, it's been 6 years. Now, for my friends that knew me, more so, I lived in Arizona for 10 years. And about maybe about 10 years being back here, they saw me when. So, and when my daughter was born, I remember thinking to myself, and I remember saying this, oh God, she's the reason. She's the reason why I'm going to stop. And she wasn't. And it saddened me. It really, really like hurt my heart that she wasn't the reason. You know, I say, know your why, know your why. And it was like, children are my why. My family is my why. And I'm like, yeah, but it's not. And I struggled with that. Like I really struggled with that. And I realized that my why is me. I'm my why. I gotta do and be and have and experience and stretch myself and step forward for me. First and foremost, like you need to do it for you. Because if you don't do it for you, you hold yourself back. And maybe, like Daniel was saying, you can rise to a level of success. And again, success is relative. But if you don't work on you, if you don't take care of the things that are holding you back that you know behind closed doors, it's going to stunt your growth. There's going to come a point where you're going to hit a plateau. And unless you work on yourself, you're just not going to hit the next level. And we all know it. I know it. I'm dealing with it myself. We all have challenges. If you're breathing, you have challenges. So, so letting go what doesn't serve you, building a habit of consistency, whatever that is for you, exercising a little bit every day, drinking water every day, letting go of caffeine if that's kind of like, yeah. And I love coffee. I don't think I'll ever give up coffee. Oh, that's water. Well, I still have some
This
coffee.
is just my favorite cup and it matches my logo. So but it's water. I don't know why I drink water out of a cup, but there you go.
That's interesting. That's interesting. But so yeah, so those are two things. Now the third thing for me, and I'm preaching to the choir here for many people, is to decide. Decide on a dream. Decide on what is it that you would absolutely love for your life. And again, there's different levels. There's different levels. You can decide for a dream in college and go for it and achieve it during your 4 years, your 8 years, your 10 years, depending on what you're going for, and that's deciding for a dream and not knowing how it's going to happen. But you step forward, you take the action, you start moving. And when you start moving in the direction of your dream or what it is that you want for your life, providence starts to move. It's amazing. People, situations, circumstance start to fall in your path that were already there. But not until you say yes to you, you won't see it. Or you'll push it aside because you're not ready. You haven't made the decision, the firm, the committed decision. It's like me saying, I'm done drinking for forever. But you know what's interesting? The many, 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 many times I said, no, I'm done, a party would come up. A friend would invite me to something, or there's a networking thing, or whatever. And I would think to myself, oh, okay, Monday. Let me just do this weekend, and Monday I'll quit. Monday I'll start. It doesn't work that way. It doesn't work that way. You make a committed decision for what it is that you really would love, and you'll know it. You'll know it when it's done, when the line is drawn. And that day, June 1st of 2018, I knew it. I said it a million times before, but I just knew it. There's just something, there's an energy that shifts inside of you, and then that's it. You're moving on to the next level you. but it doesn't end there. There's still more of a rocky road ahead of you. It's just another road that you have to take. So that's my race. That's my race. And I'm in this place now. My dream that I decided on outside of the alcohol, there was actually two, was going for a triathlon. That seed was planted in my head when I was like 20, 21 years old. And I worked at a company in the city. And I remember one of the young guys walking in the door, and I was the receptionist at the time. And I was like, "Good morning. How was your weekend?" And he was like, "Oh, it was great, Ivy. I ran a triathlon." I think he saw my jaw drop because I'm like, "You just do a triathlon?" And he was like, "Yeah." And he was smiling as he's gathering his messages because he can see that I'm like, but as he was walking towards his office, he stopped. And here's the difference. He stopped, he turned to me and he said, "You should try it one day, Ivy." And I was like, and then that's it. Poof, it was gone. The thought was gone. And that was, I was about 20. And it wasn't until my mid late 30s where the thought came back again because I was training for my first marathon. And my marathon coach was also a triathlete. So I was in Arizona. He was from upstate New York. And, he would come on our weekend runs and he would just say, "Oh, yeah, I was just up visiting my parents and I did the Empire State Triathlon." And I was like, it just blew my mind because for me, I thought that a triathlon, not, those are for people, those are for different people. Those are for people who are in different, a higher echelon. Those are for people that are not like me. Those are for people who have like a lot of money. I mean, granted, that's Ironman is different, but there's different levels to triathlons that I didn't realize. And so, my first marathon coach, he had said, he had talked about a sprint. And I was like, "Oh, I would love to do a baby triathlon one day." And he looked at me and he's like, "Don't ever call it a baby triathlon." And I was like, "Oh, okay." Um, and that's what I did. That was my second dream. That's what I decided. And what's interesting about that is, again, when we're young, we're not taught to have a vision. We're not taught to envision something for our lives, something that we would love, something that would light us up. And it's not until you get into a space where you start, learning about yourself, diving into personal development, yourself. Who am I? Why am I here? Then you start to learn a little different. You gain more knowledge, insight, wisdom, awareness. Now your mind starts to expand and the belief starts to expand where you're like, "Can I do that?" And I remember doing a vision board and I cut out a picture and I hadn't seen a picture like that prior or since. And it was a man coming out of the water with a number down his arm. And I was like, I would love to do that. Now, for some people, they're like, "That's good for you." For me, that's not something I would do. But you know that for you. There's something that is, you see it, whether it's in a movie or a book or someone says it, where it's like, what is that for you? And for me, it was a triathlon. Now, granted, my BHAG is an Ironman. So I've scaled back a little bit as I'm 54 years old. I would love to do a half Ironman, which is a lot. It's a lot. So right now, I'm at the sprint level and I'm training for my third. Now, when I first made the decision to go for it, I didn't know how to swim. I didn't own a bike. Now they say, yeah, they say, yeah, life is like riding a bike or, you just hop on a bike. And no, no. Because when you get on a bike and you haven't been on a bike in like 40 years, you're wobbly. It's like the road, the rocky road.
I need to interject. When she told
Yes.
me this, I was like, what? What? You don't even have a bike? And I'm thinking, and I have a bike in storage. I've had it there for the last maybe 4 or 5 years because I just haven't, it was my knee, now it's my hip, whatever. Anyways, I don't want to get on with it, but it's like, and overall, it's probably more balanced than anything else. And I'm like, she's doing a triathlon and she doesn't even have a bike. And I'm going, wow. And then she's like, oh yeah, I'm not sure if I can do that. I'm like, you don't have a bike and you're doing a triathlon. You can literally do anything. Like there, done with coaching. That will be $5,000. You can do anything because you signed up for a triathlon and you don't even have a bike.
You know, it's
Yeah.
still crazy to me, you know, and people like they kind of chuckle because I don't like the water. I don't like the water.
Doesn't like
I
water,
live
signs up
I
for it.
I live by the beach. I'd never go. I don't like the water. And they're like, why would you do a triathlon? I'm like, well, because triathlon has the allure. It's just something that was just it pulls at me. And that's the thing. You know, there's two energies in our life. You know, when it causes you to shift, it causes you to make a change in your life. And one is a pull. One is a pull for something greater than yourself. One is a pull for something you haven't yet achieved. And then there's discontent, you know, something in your life that's not like, you know, well, it's just less than desirable. Your satisfaction tank is like pretty much empty. Those are the two pulls. And but that was a pull. It's a pull. I can't explain it sometimes. I really can't. The bike, even till this day, and I'm training for my third triathlon, it's a thorn. I hate tinkering. My bike, I have my wheel sitting and I caught a flat like 3 weeks ago. I've tried working on it. I'm just gonna have to bring it in, but I have to learn. And it drives me crazy. Swimming, I'm better at the pool now, but it's an open water swim. I don't like going in the water. But thankfully, my husband, he used to be a lifeguard and all these things, so he comes with me. But soon I have to go out there in the bay where it's murky water and it's like I don't like it. And the first time I did it with him, I cried. Like I cried because I had such anxiety
Mm.
going in that water, just looking at it. I'm just skeeved by it's just the skeeved by it, but you can't see. And I did it. And I was like, oh my God, I did it.
Everyone needs to hear what she just said. This is mic drop right here, right here. Probably the most part, although there were so many nuggets, but so many. I love the blade of grass, by the way, equally as amazing. But this right here, she was crying. Can you imagine the gigantic release she had? She can literally do anything now, anything. And I mean, this presentation was the best I've ever seen. You do. So this is like absolutely amazing. I'm so honored to have you here. I just want to say that not only is she amazing at physical and what I am not into physical. I will do it. I will make myself do some stuff. I really, yoga was the only thing that I got into physical that I love so much. I used to love riding the bike. I used to be a spinning instructor before I hurt my knee. And now I can't really go bike riding. And plus, it's in the city. It's not as much fun as it used to be. The area I live in has now is much more congested. It's just there just isn't that space. So I do enjoy walking and hiking not as much. Again, knee, hip. But yeah, we did 75 hard together. So Jose organized a group. So Jose spoke earlier today. He organized a group and I was blessed enough to have Ivy in my group, and she is like the best cheerleader ever. And I'm thinking, I am not doing 75 hard. I don't care what Jose says. I don't care how good he says it is for you. I'm not doing it. That's all there is to it. And
It's
then,
hard.
yeah, you are. Yeah, you're doing it. You're going to do it and you're going to finish it because I don't like making commitments to myself that I can't finish. If I commit to you, I'm going to do it no matter, what. But I was like, yeah, no, 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 no. And then I'm like, okay, Ivy's there. Maybe she'll hold my hand. I'll be like, Ivy.
And you did it.
And we're talking on the phone one day, and I go to the dog park, and it's hilly. So that's why I like the dog park, because and then there's this one big hill. And I'm like about to lose a lung on the floor any minute. And Ivy's like, you okay? And I'm like, yeah, barely. But I'm going up that damn hill and I'm doing it. So, you know what? If you're looking for a phys ed coach, don't be coming to me, go to Ivy. But yeah, I did 75 hard at 60. Wait, when did we do it? I did it at 61. I wasn't 62. I turned 62 in February and we were done. We just made it to like just before the Christmas parties. So
It was hard. It was hard. Even me that I'm physically active and I enjoy doing all of that, it was hard.
like
The
totally.
name, hence
Not
the
to
name.
mention, you will see Ivy on most of my summits. She will be the person writing in most of the comments. She'll do it no matter where she is, if she can. If she can't, she can't. But if she can, she'll be there. Ivy, this was the best. Absolutely amazing. I'm so happy that we had you closing this particular summit. It worked out absolutely amazing. Do you have some final thoughts for us, honey?
Ooh, I would say my final thought for you is if there is something, because it doesn't matter what it is you need to let go of, exercise is important. I think exercise will get you to a place where you start to, like I mentioned, build a sense of trust, especially if you've had trauma and past pain in your life, that sense of trust and belief in you. And once you start feeling that, then you start taking some really positive and big changes in your life. And I can help you with that. I can really help you with that. And again, it's not about alcohol or any of the things. It's just, it's a mindset. And there's one of my pillar courses is there's 5 pillars. So day 1, I talk about mindset. Day 2, I talk about exercise. And then it's like, your triggers and, letting go. And then it's just the emotion, how to ground yourself, and then just stepping forward and living a healthier lifestyle, just with more peace and ease, because there's things you have no control over, and we try to control things, but when you can let things go and you can let people go, I'm not saying like let them go, just detach yourself from the emotion to them, because you can't control what they do, what they say, kind of thing. I'm telling you, you sleep better at night. So I can help you with that, and there's other things too, but yeah.
There's lots of other things, but we have to go. So my dog is like ready to kill me going, are you going to take me outside or what?
It's
So
like, Mom, I'm lucky, but I might have a lucky accident. So
I
yes, yeah.
just want to say this. Earlier you said the power of running your own race. I'm just going to say one thing. That's an amazing title for a book. Don't you all agree with me? And I'm not sure who should write one here, but it's not me. I mean, we could all do it, but it didn't come from me. It came from Ivy. So thank you again, Ivy. This was wonderful. Thank you,
Oh,
everyone, for joining us. Thank you so much for all of your comments. I just looked in there, and even though Facebook put me in jail and I can't make any comments, I think we have somewhere around 700 comments, which is insane. Thank you all so much. This was my first 2-day one. I don't know when I will do another 2-day one, but I will probably, maybe not so much in the summertime. We'll see what happens, right? Where it goes. No predictions in advance.
the fall, maybe November, close to being thankful.
October and November are probably, and December also very big. If you do it enough before Christmas, early December, it's actually a very busy. And then January, February, March, even April. Gosh, this time, like even this one, like right into June, really it's just July and August. They're sometimes slowed down a bit, but we'll see what happens, right? So either way, thank you everyone again. I hope you have all been inspired. Please, don't hesitate to share this with your friends. It's free for a reason. My, desire for all of you is to just inspire, empower, and nourish verbally, emotionally, mentally, as many people as humanly possible. And so this is just the venue I've selected for myself because it feels really great. And maybe I haven't selected it, maybe God selected it for me. I'm not sure, but I like it. So here we are. And with all of that, thank you all so much. Namaste.